Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anointed Lady TV, the home of news and politics. If it is your first time in this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you like what we do on this channel, hit on the subscribe button. Also put on the notification bell so you'll be notified by YouTube anytime we drop a new video. And if you are returning subscribers, thank you very much for always coming back to watch our videos. On this platform, we drop videos every day and we react to every video that come our way. And on this very video, I will be watching with you. And after watching, let's go to the comment section and drop our opinion constructively. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible. See you next time in my next video.
I want to ask you, were you the head of a planning and strategy committee in the Tinubu campaign organization?
There was a planning and strategy committee set up to plan the presidential aspiration of Bola Tinubu at to the convention, leading up to the convention. Not necessarily the head, but most of the time when I'm around, I chair the committee. We plan for the emergence of Bola Tinubu as a successful candidate at the primaries. So to that extent, yes, there was a planning and strategy committee, and I was the chair.
Okay. So was there a subcommittee that was in charge of nominating vice presidential candidate nominees that will potentially be picked by the presidential candidate? And was that committee chaired by Senator Grace Bent? Did you submit a list to Bola Tinubu, which was delivered by you, as we're hearing?
Well, after the election, after the convention of the party, there was at which the job of the planning and strategy committee had been fulfilled. We thought that there was a need to plan for the general election, which was going to be a different ball game from the convention, which was a wholly party affair. So we thought it fit to set up a subcommittee to look at the strategies that will be employed in the coming general election. The general election, we expect, will have a campaign council. The general election will have so many other interests to be accommodated, including probably those candidates that were defeated. They will need to be incorporated into the council. The party's opinion will need to be sought. The president's opinion will need to be sought. A whole gamut of people will need to be consulted in setting up the presidential campaign council. So we thought we should give a guideline to the principal on how it's going to be done. It was not just a subcommittee to recommend presidential candidate.
Vice presidential
candidate. Nominees. It was a committee to advise on the general nature of the campaign we're going to be engaged in going forward. Part of their mandate was, of course, to advise on the modalities for picking the vice presidential candidate. Because by the time we got to that stage, the issue of a Muslim-Muslim ticket, possibility of a Muslim-Muslim ticket or Muslim-Christian ticket was at the front burner of Nigerian discourse. So they took it up. Now, some of the decisions there were about how to prosecute the election, how to constitute the campaign council, which qualities are required for the DG of the campaign council, who should chair it, and so on and so forth. And the organogram was drawn up as to the structure of the campaign council up to the polling unit level. The committee also looked at the strengths and weaknesses of the candidate in every zone and in every state within the zone. We looked at the election demography in the states. And in that sense, in their recommendation, they included, after discussing the qualities of the presidential candidate that is desirable, they went ahead and recommended where the vice presidential candidate ought to come from. They recommended Northwest and they recommended Northeast. So the draft was presented to me by the chairman of the subcommittee, truly Senator Grace Bent. Now you must understand that Senator Grace Bent was the person most appropriate for that job. Senator Grace Bent was a former senator from Adamawa Central, from the Southern Senatorial Zone, a zone predominantly Christian. She was a senator for that zone. Senator Grace Bent, her parents were originally from Osun State, and she was therefore a Yoruba person married to an Adamawa person. She was a member of the PDP BOT. So who in the group was best qualified for that job? She was the one. And when she brought the draft report to me, I looked at it, and there was some list of names they recommended, Northwest
for vice
president, based on their analysis of the qualities of that candidate.
So did that list contain Kashim Shettima at the top of it?
No, that list contained about, I think, Northwest, maybe 5 or 6, Northeast, maybe 5 or 6, and so on. So I told her.
Yeah, I mean, these are some of the names that we are showing right now. They were recommended. Are you familiar with these names?
Of course, I know most of these names. I know them, but not necessarily that they were part of the report. Anyway, when she brought the list to me, I said, Senator, you cannot recommend somebody without telling us the strengths and weaknesses. What is the person going to bring to this ticket? Go back to your committee and give us an analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of every candidate. Because if I'm going to present this to the principal, he might ask me, yes, why this, why this, why this? I need to be able to defend it, why this person is suitable for this position. And I told her my own position has always been in choosing a vice president, what is the man bringing to the ticket? Is he bringing votes? Or is he bringing money with which to procure the votes? I mean, logistics to procure the votes. So, and then I told her, I said, necessarily from past history, vice presidents are not nominated because of the votes they bring to the party. For example, when General Buhari took Professor Emi Oshimbaja, Oshimbaja was an unknown entity. It was not as if he could bring any votes substantial.
Yeah, but, I mean, there was someone behind him.
Yeah, of course. But the whole idea of him was that he was going to represent a certain interest. And that interest, if properly represented, would be able to bring their votes on board.
That's the Christian community,
the
South, and the Southwest, and all of
that. The large church from which he comes, he was a Yoruba man, and of course he was backed by a very big Yoruba politician. These were the qualities that Oshimbaja was expected to bring, not necessarily because of his own personality and ability to bring the votes.
Or the votes he can bring to the table.
And everything is like that. Baba Gana Kinkibe was not Abiola's roommate because Baba Gana Kinkibe could bring vote. He was from Borno State.
Yeah, but he was a very strong politician. Don't make reference to that one. Because he came second in that election, that presidential primaries of the SDP, and Atiku Abubakar came third.
Yes.
And because they were afraid of a runoff, there was an agreement between the late Shehu Musa Yar'Adua to see how he can support Atiku, support Moshood Abiola, and eventually Baba Gana Kingibe had to join that, and then Atiku Abubakar stepped down, so that was why there was no runoff.
Exactly, exactly. Now the motive, the main objective was not because he could bring election, but because in that combination they will be able to have be able to defeat the opponent. Yeah,
but it's because the governors were also behind Baba Gana Kingibe. That's why, because even Abiola himself was initially hesitant about bringing a
Why were the governors behind Baba Gana Kingibe? Because he was the only one that could bring big votes? Would he have been better than Chiroma, for example? Why was he brought? There was no reason except what you have just said. Anyway, these are some of the considerations that I told them, go and do it. And then she left. After some few days, she said, sir, this thing requires research, it requires time, it requires possibly interviewing the candidates whom we are not, it's not right we do it. So please, sir, we don't have time to do this. Then I said, in that case, we will expunge this from the reports. Just recommend, discuss where the president ought to come from, like vice president ought to come from, and so on and so forth, and what are the merits and demerits of selecting from this zone, from this tribe.
So the list was handed to you, and you took this list which contained Kashim Shettima.
No, it was the list I took
to Tinubu.
Now listen to me, Sambo. The final report we expunged the names. These names we are parading here.
Okay, so the names were not included.
No name was, because we could. It's not the possibility to justify why, for example, Dogara was there, why these other guys were there. We couldn't. Najat was there, Ambassador Fatibala was there.
Because of what Grace Bent has said, there was not enough time to interview them
and get the data that I required to be able to defend the recommendation.
And maybe shortlist, maybe the top 3 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm not supposed to shortlist or the committee's report. Yeah, my own was that as the chairman of the committee of the whole, it was my duty to present it to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu that this is the report of our committee. And it is very important to be able to defend everything you say in that report. And I said, this list, I cannot explain why they are here, why you included them, because you didn't say that. Since you don't have time to give me this information, expunge it. So it was expunged. However, quite a number of the members of the committee obviously would have had the draft which presented to me.
Which had the names
initially. But went to market with it, typical of things like this, went to market with it.
Okay, so you handed over this report without the list to Tinubu?
The final report which Tinubu had does not have the list of those people.
Okay. So when Tinubu was about concluding on a vice presidential candidate nominee like Kashim Shettima, did he eventually get back to you or members of the committee?
No. Well, it's a very funny thing. He didn't. Okay. We didn't know how he. In my short brief, I did say that anytime, it's not the first time we discuss with Asiwaju Bola, we discuss all these things in normal fora, in formal organization. But you see, the final decision on who he chooses is his own. But if our report was very detailed about the implication of religion in this coming election.
So did you consider the issue of a Muslim ticket?
Yes. In the report, both scenarios were reviewed, analyzed, and in the report made provision for the advantages of a Muslim ticket and the disadvantages.
So why are you now against a Muslim ticket?
Because there was also a recommendation as to the benefits and the merits of a Muslim Christian ticket. And that outweighs the benefits of a Muslim ticket.
Based on your own understanding and recommendation of the committee?
Yeah, it's on the, well, I have my own personal observations. I was not a member of the committee, but their recommendation was clear. If you take a Muslim ticket, these are the pitfalls you encounter, these are the dangers, but these are the advantages. However, if you take a Muslim ticket, these are the possible advantages and these are the possible disadvantages.
Okay, I'll just ask you.
I handed over the report to him as is.
Okay, I'll just ask you to hold on. We had an interview here, myself and you, when you raised some issues on minorities in the APC, the fears of a Muslim ticket and all of that. And I'll play back just a portion of it, and then we'll continue from there. And so we'll now listen to what he has said 3 months ago, right?
Very neck deep in his campaign to become the president of this country. Bola Tinubu is a Muslim from the southwest. Now, it's for him to choose who he would like to be as his vice president. But the probability is there that he might choose, for example, a northern Muslim. The probability is there for a northern Christian. The choice is his and for that party. And whatever mechanism will come up with eventually to select the vice presidential candidate. But the probability is there. For me, as a man of Asiwaju, would believe that he will win the nomination. It's part of our effort to get the party to look at these issues and take a deliberate step to change it or to correct it. They are adamant. They are getting worse. So chances are that if we feel that our cries as leaders of the party from the Christian community are not hard, we will do sit-down look. Okay, you will do sit-down look. That was you, quintessential you, saying the truth as it is. So are you? I see it. Are you planning to begin to do a sit-down look? Because the same thing we talked about 3 months ago has just come to the bear. And you said in this that there were already this discussion, and then having chaired the strategic committee, there were talks about this. So you should also have been prepared for the aftermath of a Muslim ticket. How prepared are you for that? Yes, first of all, it's good to get the historical narrative. This interview was before the primary, the APC National Convention, in which
party executives,
in which we were saying from the body language of the party that they were going to exclude Christians from the National Working Committee and the NEC.
Yeah.
The idea was to get them to recognize the Christian members of the party.
You were insistent that the national chairman of the party should be a Christian, or the deputy national chairman North should go to a Christian.
Yes. Now, eventually, typical of APC, they didn't listen, and the chairman became a Muslim. The deputy national chairman North became a Muslim. And the only position that eventually Christians got in the NEC, and of course probably the National Working Committee, was Assistant National Secretary, which went to Plateau. You know, so that's it. My fear was justified. And now going forward, we come to a nomination process, and the candidate, a Muslim, emerges. Again, in a party whose executives is completely, as far as the Northern Christians are concerned, completely dominated by Muslims.
Again.
So the cry now begins to be louder in the Christian community. Begins to be louder.
Now, you're warning your friend, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, strongly, against going ahead with the submission of Kashim Shettima's name. Now, we have heard that there was supposed to have been an unveiling today, and it looks like that has been put on hold. Can his name still be forwarded, or can it still be removed?
That's not for me to decide.
Yeah, he's your good friend.
No, Bola?
Tinubu.
Yeah, it's clear. I wrote what I wrote. He has read it, I'm sure. And I did say that he should rescind it if he can. If he refuses to, the president should use his authority to do so. If he doesn't do it, the chairman should refuse to sign the nomination forms. I've said that they can't be more clear than that.
Yeah, but no. Wouldn't that be interfering with the powers of the presidential candidate to nominate his own vice presidential candidate?
Exactly. But
wouldn't Buhari be accused of interfering with an internal process that's primarily that of the candidate?
Now, there are other issues worth considering in this. First of all, nobody should aspire to be president of this country if he ignores the religious dichotomy in the system. We are two major religions and a third smaller religion, the ATR, and some other religions. Now, we know that religion is a major factor in this country, and it's a divisive factor. And anybody wishing to lead this country ought to be concerned that he's going to kickstart his government in a manner that is divisive, in a manner that is antagonistic of a certain segment of the society. It doesn't matter whether it's Christianity, whether it's Igbo religion, or Igbo tribe, or Hausa tribe, or Kilba tribe, or Muslims or so. You are supposed to, first of all, seek to unite the people you intend to rule. Without this unity, whatever else you will do, nobody will appreciate it.
Now, Tinubu spent some time consulting a lot of groups. Did he consult minority groups like yours, and including the Christian community in the APC?
My friend, I would like to think that if Tinubu were to consult a Christian group in APC, I would be there.
Because of your long-standing relationship with him?
First of my long-standing relationship, because of my profile in the system, in the party, and because of the political position I have held. And of course, because he knows I have a very good grasp of the Christian community vis-a-vis their politics. So now I didn't know about it. In spite of the fact that I presented the report to him and sought orally and also orally presented it. I did say that there are some things that he should know, which for obvious reasons we cannot put in writing. Because like this man has just done, leaked it into the public domain. I explained those things to him verbally. I said, I can tell you this verbally, and this and this. At that time, he would have said, this was, I think, 2-3 days before he announced his vice presidential candidate. I would have expected at that time, he would have said, BD, I'm sorry, I've seen your report, you are recommending Muslim Christian ticket, but I've made up my mind for Muslim ticket. Okay, he had the right to do that. Like I said in my note, obviously, by this time, I've had an idea of his body language. I've seen people will tell him, how can you have a ticket in which there's no Northwest man inside?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that Tinubu has new friends now.
There are new friends.
Some of them are psychopaths and all of that.
Some of them, I must say, are more interested in a relationship with the candidate than what is the worldview outside? What is the political situation outside? I did take time to explain. I'll tell it here that, look, a Muslim ticket might not be beneficial to you. It's in the report, but let me reiterate it. First of all, you will antagonize the Christian majority in this country. It's a direct attack on them. And even in your own zone, you might put your election at jeopardy. Because when it comes to religion, in Nigeria take religion first. Now, you jeopardize the whole of the Christians in the north, in the south, in the southeast. Then I said, even if you were to take Sultan Saad as your running mate, I'll find it very difficult to see how we can overpower Atiku in the Northwest Zone, or how we can overpower Kwankwaso in the Northwest Zone. I don't see, from my own understanding of Nigerian politics, I can't go and be voting for you because you took my brother vice president and forget to vote for my brother the president.
Now, do you have anything personal against Kashim Shettima?
I don't know him. He's from Borno State. We never had, when I was SGF, like every other person, we relate with the governors. I related with him very well, quite well.
How about the politics of selecting the deputy national chairman of the North, which some of you who are Christian minorities in the APC had said that former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, should be given the position, and you were about pushing that until it has been alleged now that Kashim Shettima projected strongly Senator Abubakar Kyari, who is the current holder of that office. And since then, it's been difficult for people like you to reconcile the fact that you can come against minorities in the North.
No, what I know about that process was this. When we found out that the party has zoned the deputy national chairmanship to the Northeast, I consulted some very senior Christians and said, who is best for this position? And all of us agreed that it would be Dogara. And I said, but Dogara is in the House of Representatives. Would he want to leave this for a deputy national chairmanship? They said, well, talk to him. So I made Dogara for the sake of our party, so that Christians will have a sense of inclusiveness. Would you mind if you accept this position for the sake of our party? That way we'll be able to go to our people now and say, after all, the Deputy National Chairman North, who in effect is the second most senior person in the party, is a Christian. That was our aim. We all agreed that without something like this, we'll have difficulties selling APC in our zones. And somebody else told me, a very senior member said, Ogabidi, I said, huh? He said, if we cannot get Dogara into National Working Committee as a Deputy National Chairman, you and I, let us be patient. At the end of February 2023 or May, we escort our brother, our friend, to Daura or Kaduna, wherever he wants to go. Then we pack our things and go home. Because then, implication, APC will not win. So, in that light, Dogara agreed that he was going to do it for the reasons we gave. The first person I phoned was Kashim Shettima. I said, where are you? He said he's in Gomborungala or something with his governor. I said, I want us to discuss the micro-zoning of the positions zoned to the Northeast. Then he said, yes. Oh, that's very good, my boss. That's very good, boss. I hope we'll be on the same ticket. And he did say, because we in Borno, we will never want so person to be so position. He said, so if that's the case, we are on the same page on this one. We too, in our state, we don't want that person there. He said, okay, when I come back on Sunday, I will phone you. We discuss. Sunday, he didn't. Monday, he didn't. Tuesday, I phoned. He didn't pick. Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. Meanwhile, I also phoned the Gombe State Governor, who was expected to be the one to call the meetings. I said, sir, I would like us to meet to discuss micro-zoning. He said, okay, I'll get back to you when we fix the date. I consulted everybody that needed to be consulted. for this. So one day I asked the senator who was to coordinate the meeting of the group that will decide this. So I asked him, I said, sir, when are you calling the meeting for this microzoning? He said, I spoke with Governor Zulum, and he says we'll get three people per state to go and meet. I say, who are you bringing from Adamawa? He said, you are there. The secretary to the government is there. And that was Mustafa. And he mentioned, I think, and he said, Professor Tahir, who was then representing us in the National Working Committee, will be there. I said, sir, that is not fair. That is not going to be representative. What of our past governor, Senator Jibrilla Bindo? He ought to be there. Then he says, well, okay, we'll see. I'll talk to Governor Zulum if we can expand the team. But I said, but it's important to expand. The more the merrier, and everybody will be represented. I said, there are senators. No senator is there. The summary is that meeting, when it was conveyed, nobody from Bauchi was invited. I wasn't invited. Nobody from Taraba was invited. Of course, Yobe, Gombe, Borno, they did their thing.
So Shettima has some dictatorial tendencies. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
From the tone of your letter, it looks like Tinubu is in trouble.
Tinubu is in trouble. Everybody outside the public domain says Tinubu is in trouble because Shettima is ambitious. Everybody knows he's very ambitious.
And you said so.
I said so.
I want to read out this thing that you said in your letter. You said, but bearing any last-minute change of mind, Bola has made his choice.
Yeah.
He should be bluntly told that in this choice, Nigerian Christians clearly see a pending Islamic Republic of Nigeria in its infancy and are right to be severely vexatious. Very strong words.
Yeah. And the
PDP
I think I used another one.
The PDP had, prior to 2015, been telling Nigerians that you're a Janjaweed political party, the APC, and that you are a Muslim centered party and all of that.
Yeah.
I remember Olisama saying
progressively
that
going
over.
Yeah.
Now you have a president, a Senate president, speaker, party chairman,
deputy speaker.
Has Olisametu and the PDP, have they been proven right?
Of course. I think it was a prophet. It's going to be worse. Look, if this nomination stands, and I suspect it might, if the vice president comes from the Northeast, implication is that the Senate president will come from elsewhere.
Probably the Southeast.
No, probably his famous Northwest, for which he's pandering to them for their votes. He must have to give them something. It might go to Northwest.
Can they have speaker? Because my thinking, based on the formula that you already have, it looks like you are imitating the PDP in 1999.
Sir, they might have the speaker. It doesn't matter. They might have the speaker. But if it goes, any position that goes to the Northwest, no Christian will be qualified for it. Because I doubt if they will be able to have a legislator with the proper ranking, a Christian from the Northwest, to be made a Senate president or to be made a speaker. We see this.
Now, you are a senior politician, and having known the North and how Ahmadu Bello, former Sardauna of Sokoto and former Premier of Northern Region, tried to knit together this
country
behemoth of, the region, the Northern Region. At a point in time, Sardauna himself had a cabinet that was populated largely by Muslims until he had to be reminded by some of his associates when he was seeking to find out why there was not so much loyalty by a lot of the minorities in the North. And he kept saying the South, especially the Southeast, as it was then known as the Eastern region, didn't have so much turbulence in terms of minorities wanting to collapse the system there. And then, of course, in the West, there were not so much turbulence from the minority. But in the North, we had the likes of Joseph Taka, and then, of course, Aminu Kano always giving him troubles and problems until he had to rejig his cabinet. And he brought in so many of them, including Sunday Awoni and all of that. Do you think that Buhari may not have learnt a lesson from such a great Nigerian like Ahmadu Bello, and that there's a mistake that's being made ahead of the next government if Tinubu wins by the presidential candidate?
I learned a different lesson, arrived at a different conclusion on Buhari's government. I know Buhari, when he set up his government, the first government, I was there. I was very important, involved in everything, appointments as the SGF. I keep on saying this, Buhari as a person does not give appointment on the basis of tribe or religion. You know, but Buhari was to balance. It's the duty, whoever brings the recommendation to him is the one to explain. I would, for example, in my own time, take a list of the appointments in the parastatus. Category A, B, C, these are the people from the Northwest, these are the people from the North Central. So, sir, this man, this zone, they are not properly represented. That's why I brought this man for you to help balance the thing. He will sign. Say, oh, thank you, Jeff. Well done, I go. That's as far as I know about him. That's how it is. He continued to do his best on this basis. When I left, of course, I always say this too. That doesn't mean, for example, his cosmate in the NDA will not come and say, General Muhammadu, that your son that was born last year, 10 years ago when we were in MOMS, he is now graduated. I want a job for him. That will not stop you from, he gets those type of requests. He says, SGF, please employ us so. I comply. He's the president, he's the chief executive, he's everything. I comply. But basically, he relies on the recommendation of others, ministers, SGF, for his appointments. And it is the duty of those people to do the balancing. I know, for example, one particular example that I can cite to you that has done very well is the Ministry of Education. Their appointments are always, they try to balance it as much as possible. In the Ministry of Education. They have so many parastatals, universities, colleges of education, polytechnics, but they try to balance people that they employ, people that they give to board appointment and so on. Not necessarily everybody. So, but where I do see Buhari's problem is related to what could happen. As much as good as he has done in issue of balance, the perception out there has been that he is lopsided in his appointment. Being a former insider and an insider still, I know where the mistake comes from. It's from his lieutenants who prefer to employ their brothers, their cosmates, their classmates, who don't have the interest of the broader picture.
Is Tinubu beginning to make such kind of mistakes too?
Now, this is where the danger will come. If we go into a government in which ab initio, the Christian population feel discriminated against, whatever that government will do, no matter what they do to placate the Christian community, the view will be there that there will be no interest in supporting this government.
Whether it's based on competence or not, because Tinubu says his decision is based on competence.
My friend, I don't want to be rude to you. Tinubu didn't sit examination and go to the best candidate before we presented him to the If it is based on competence, Tinubu, who has a 1 degree in a business management, cannot be Professor Oshimbanjo, who is a professor of law. So competence in what? Who examines this competence? Is it an exam? So in any case, given that maybe Shettima is the most competent person from the north, which exam did he take?
Well, maybe he was a former governor and he has the capacity to deliver votes from the northeast. Isn't it about the votes any longer? Because you were on this show and you said that it's all about delivering votes. It's about who can win the election.
My friend,
and isn't Tinubu thinking that way too?
Are you saying that Lalong, being a vice president, a governor himself, cannot deliver votes? He too has a state. Are you saying that Lalong cannot deliver votes? Are you saying that Boss Mustafa, the SGF, Boss Mustafa contested governorship when he was below 30 years? In Adamawa, in SDP. He's a career politician that I know. He's one career politician. He has done politics all his life. Can he not deliver votes? Dogara, who was a very excellent speaker, led it very, very well, competently, cannot deliver votes.
And what are some of your northern friends within the APC saying about all of this, especially those ones who are Muslims? Are they sympathetic? Do they think the presidential candidate is taking the right decisions? What can be done?
I can tell you that this is not about religion. This is about all-inclusiveness. This is about equity. This is about justice. This is about peaceful coexistence with each other, with their neighbor. No Muslim wants to live in a acrimonious relationship with the Christian. The fight we are fighting is fight for everybody, for justice. Muslims have had comments from senior people, very senior people on this matter, thanking me, Muslims. BD, we know you are fighting for the good of everybody. You are fighting for justice. Islam preaches justice. Why can't they see this? No Muslim will want to live in a acrimonious relationship with his neighbor. Nobody. We've lived together all these years peacefully, you know. We go to the same school, we go to the same workplace, we live in neighbors, the same street. We've never had problems. But this thing has sown the seed of a possible problem.
Do you think it can cause more troubles in Nigeria, this kind of decision?
It definitely will.
And why will it be so? I mean, when you have Christians, you have a Peter Obi on the presidential ballot of Labour Party. You have, several persons. You've seen Kwankwaso also picking a VP presidential candidate who is a bishop and all of that.
Yes, these are sensible people that have done so. These are sensible people that have followed the norm, the accepted practice that we want to live in harmony. This is the practice. Now, but for me, as an APC chieftain, that is bad news. I love my party to win. I would have loved our party would also follow suit and pick a vice presidential candidate from among the Christians. There was a time I was discussing with my friend. I said, hey, why can't you pick an Igbo man self? To me, as a vice president, I would have loved it.
Well, of course, you know that wouldn't
what I know for
regional balance and all of that.
Now you see, exactly. If regional balance is important for our cohesion, why is religion not important?
Because Awolowo tried that, and it didn't happen. Remember when he had Omiadi on the ticket?
There could be other reasons why he didn't win.
Well, of
it's
course,
not
the different circumstances.
Yeah. Buhari took an Igbo. Did he win? He didn't win.
Okay. Do you think that APC may not win this election if Kashim Shettima remains on the ticket, or even if it's replaced with another Muslim?
Now, there are issues here. Did you see the communique of the Northern Christian APC leaders? They bluntly stated that they will not be able to campaign for APC in this election. See, me, Bidi Lawal, a Christian, an APC chieftain, a friend of Bola Tinubu. How will I go to Adamawa and stay on the podium and say, vote for Bola, his Muslim ticket? 2 days ago, I was coming from a show with my 13-year-old son, and he overheard us discuss with somebody on this ticket. Then my son said, Daddy, I hope you are not going to be part of this Muslim ticket. I said, no, can't we? Why will you? Say, Daddy, if you do support this Muslim ticket, your reputation will go down. Your integrity will be completely destroyed, because people will think that you collected money from Bola, and you who have been defending Christian values suddenly and their presence in politics, you suddenly go and you support Muslim ticket, you will be finished. And Daddy, please, we, our children, will also carry the burden.
So what do you make of what the APC national chairman is saying, that it's an act of God, it's God's will, due to the political dynamics of the country at the moment? This couldn't have been stopped.
God doesn't respond immediately. If God were a man, he would have argued with that, and he would have told you, I didn't say so. But God doesn't challenge you, doesn't respond. Adamo can say whatever he wants. He can say God told him. He can say he's a prophet, he's a priest, whatever. Prophets, we know God speaks to prophets. He can say he's a prophet, God told him, that is his own. We don't believe him.
So you're planning to do sit-down look?
If they don't, as we are now, Christian community are angry, they are mobilizing to kill this, they are everywhere. Of course, there are quite a number of some people that do the normal argument, Muslims who win, Bola will win, whatever you people say you don't want, of course he might win. We are not God, he might win.
And you may not get anything in his government, aren't you?
What do I need from government?
Aren't you thinking that way, that it may affect your political fortunes in the APC?
I have no political fortune. I have no ambition for any political appointment. What appointment can I get in again?
Or maybe appointment for your kids.
No, well, I mean, my kids will come out with, 2 of them came out with first class this year. So, I mean,
but if you say your friends, Buhari's friends were sending notes to him, and
yeah, but I mean,
didn't you want to send a note to your own friend Bola if he becomes the president?
My friend, I have a sufficient business empire that accommodates my children.
Okay, just before I let you go, lastly, Tinubu men are saying that this decision is irreversible,
yes.
And because even if they had put a bishop or even the Pope as his vice presidential candidate, that some segments of the North wouldn't
they are welcome.
Vote for him. In fact, Nigeria, that even when Oshibajo was made the deputy, the vice presidential candidate of Buhari, many Christian communities didn't vote for the APC.
They are
yet they won.
They are welcome. It's their view. They are entitled to it. This is a democracy. They will go out and seek to make Bola Tinubu president under that ticket. They are welcome.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, what all we are saying is that we don't want the party to be in jeopardy. Look, let me tell you, if this party fails, this one consequence of this Muslim ticket, I can assure you, in the Christian communities, it's very difficult for any Christian candidate to win. Anybody contesting on APC platform in the Christian communities, Southeast, Southwest, South, Northeast, North Central, it's difficult for him to win.
All right.